Eoghan Corry is commentator on travel and aviation, and every time, or at least the last twice, I've introduced you onto the show, it's off the back of a weather forecast. I assure you, Rowan, if you've noticed, it's an absolute coincidence, but it's something I can't help but notice. How are you?
Hopefully I bring a little bit of sunshine after your weather forecast.
Okay.
Not that it ever rains in beautiful Donegal.
Of course it doesn't. We don't admit to it anyway. I travelled through Belfast last week or the week before, and it was a treat because just throw the bags into the carousel, didn't have to remove anything from the bags or what have you. Thought this is fantastic, and it's something we're going to see now in Dublin Airport as well.
Absolutely. All 33 security lanes now have the new scanners. They also have changed the rules so that you can carry up to 2 litres liquid. As you say, the 2 Belfast airports introduced this at the beginning of June, and Derry got it at the beginning of June as well. Donegal was sort of a pioneer in all of this. They were one of the first airports to get the new scanners. But what happened, Greg, was a little bit complicated. We had this clearance at the beginning of last summer that you could bring up to 2 litres liquids through security. Then in September, the European Union said, hey, there's a big problem with some of the bigger bottles, so we're introducing the laws again. That changed last June. Some airports have it, some don't. The big news this morning is Dublin now has it for all 33 security lanes, because they only had the new scanners in Terminal 2 and half of Terminal 1. They now have fitted the entire airport. A few changes in the layout with that. So 3 of the scanners are upstairs in the mezzanine level. That will be new to passengers going through Dublin Airport Terminal 1. But it's good news all round. Good, happy Friday news, Greg.
Yeah, indeed. And is this down to just advances in technology, or maybe the new way short-haul carriers are trying to get people to carry bags and what have you? Maybe they're putting the pressure on. What has driven this change?
2 things, nothing to do with the carriers, but it's to do with the technology, it's to do with the law. The security people banned liquids famously in 2006 over, there was a bomb plot which involved liquids being brought on board. Took a long, long time for security to give an okay, to say it's okay to bring liquids over 100 mils on board. They eventually did that at the beginning of last year. The technology is awesome. It's the equivalent of what you get in Letterkenny Hospital or whatever when you go in for your CT scan that's 3-dimensional. It's very different from the old technology, and that was introduced by a lot of airports, including Donegal were one of the leaders, Shannon, Kerry, Knock, they all have it. Belfast City got it a bit later than most, but they are in action. So now the technology's in place. What was a bit slower was the rules to change back to allowing 2 litres. And while we have them in Dublin and Belfast and in Derry, we don't have them in Donegal yet, or Shannon or Kerry and Knock. I expect that to happen. But you got to also remember, Greg, that transfer airport is not going to have them. None of the big transfer airports, and that includes Frankfurt, Lisbon, Madrid, Amsterdam is a big one, Heathrow is a big one, and Paris Charles de Gaulle, and the Middle Eastern airports. So if you're going through another airport, it's still of no use. But a lot of Dublin people going point to point, those wonderful flights we have to Faro and Malaga and Palma de Mallorca, you can just bring your 75 cl bottle on board. I know you want to bring your €2,000 bottle of Chateau Yquem over to your auntie.
Of course, yes.
So
I'd think you didn't bang cheese and biscuits. If
I
were to took 1 litre, say a 1 litre bottle, into the side panel of a backpack, would that be okay,
yeah.
Or would that be okay? So it wouldn't have to actually be in.
No,
you know how you
stay in the bag. It stays in the bag. It's very simple.
Okay.
It stays in the bag. That was where all the problems were. It tended to be presents. It tended to be bottles of olive oil or wine and stuff like that. And that can still happen on the return journey, which is more likely where people are buying things. The main thing is you can get through Dublin now with your liquids in your bag. Laptops stay in the bag. That's always been the case since the beginning of last year, but liquids as well.
Okay, now, but I mean, obviously, it's very important what you've pointed out, actually, in terms of the airport you're coming back from might not quite be the same.
Yeah, and America is slower to move on the whole 2 litres thing. There was a lot of talk earlier this year. Donald Trump's new head of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, was saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to do this. They got rid of the requirement that shoes be removed. That was a big breakthrough." They also talked about liquids back in June, but a lot of talk, no action yet on that. Security people always very, very cautious.
I'm heading out to Greece, says the listener, and apologies, those watching the show at the moment are just not getting Owen's audio. That's my problem. You're coming out perfectly in Radio Land. It's nothing to do with you, Owen. It's on our end. I'm just letting our
Will I shout a bit louder?
That won't help. I'm going to Greece. I'll be all right going out, but what about coming back?
Coming back is going to be a problem. I don't think any of the Greek airports have, and I'm trying to running them through my head. Don't hold me to that. But what's been happening, oddly enough, is some of the regional airports have been quicker because they're very costly, being quicker to implement it. So you see it in some regional airports, you don't see it in others, but it varies completely from airport to airport. I do think that's going to be solved by next summer.
Listen, Owen, thank you so very much for your time.
Always a huge pleasure, Greg.
Love having you on. Thank you very much. I just still have to get into that bottle of fancy wine yet. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.